Manchester United fans, something very interesting is happening at the club right now, and it could completely change the future of Marcus Rashford. For months, it looked like Rashford's Manchester United career was heading towards an ending. He had left the club on loan, first spending time at Aston Villa and then moving to Barcelona. And after everything that had happened, many fans genuinely believed that we had already seen the last of Rashford in a Manchester United shirt. But football can change very quickly, and now Marcus Rashford is back. The England forward has returned to Manchester United's squad after his loan spell at Barcelona, and this time there is a completely different manager in charge, Michael Carrick. And that could be the most important part of this entire story. According to the latest reports, United are preparing to fully reintegrate Rashford into the squad. Carrick has also made it clear that Rashford remains a Manchester United player, while praising what the forward can potentially offer to the team. So the big question is no longer simply, will Rashford leave Manchester United? The question is, could Marcus Rashford actually become an important player for Michael Carrick again? And honestly, there are reasons to believe that this could happen. Let's go back for a moment. Rashford's previous chapter at Manchester United became extremely complicated. He was once one of the biggest young stars to come through the club's academy. He scored on his first team debut, became a regular England international, scored goals in huge games, and eventually became one of the faces of Manchester United. But his relationship with the club deteriorated. Under the previous regime, Rashford found himself outside the manager's plans. His playing time became inconsistent, his future was questioned, and eventually a loan move became the solution. And that is when Barcelona entered the picture. And this is where the story becomes particularly interesting, because Rashford didn't simply go to Barcelona and disappear. He reminded people that there is still a very good footballer inside him. Reports around his Barcelona campaign point to a productive season, with Rashford contributing goals and assists and helping Barcelona during their title-winning campaign. But Barcelona ultimately did not make the move permanent. Instead, Rashford returned to Manchester United. And normally, that could have been a disaster. A player comes back from loan, his previous club doesn't want him, and the transfer window becomes a race to find another destination. But Manchester United's situation is different now. Michael Carrick is in charge, and Carrick knows Rashford. He has worked around the player before, and perhaps more importantly, Carrick's approach appears to be giving Rashford another opportunity rather than immediately closing the door. Carrick has spoken positively about what Rashford can offer, while avoiding a definitive statement that his long-term future is guaranteed. That distinction is important. United are not simply saying Rashford is definitely staying forever, but they are also not saying Rashford is finished here. Instead, the message appears to be, he's our player, he's back, and let's see what he can do. And that could be exactly what Rashford needs, because there is another factor here that cannot be ignored: confidence. When a player knows that his manager wants him, trusts him, and is willing to give him opportunities, his entire game can change. Rashford's best football has always come when he is aggressive, when he attacks defenders, when he runs behind the defensive line, when he receives the ball and immediately thinks about getting into the box, when he plays without fear. And Carrick could potentially create an environment where Rashford can rediscover that version of himself. There is also a tactical argument. Manchester United need attacking options. The club has strengthened in midfield, but Carrick has repeatedly indicated that the squad still needs improvement. Recent reports say United are continuing to look at further additions, particularly in areas such as midfield and left back. So why completely discard a player who has already shown he can contribute goals and assists at the highest level? If Rashford can return to his best, Manchester United could effectively have a new signing without spending another massive transfer fee. And that is exactly why some former United figures have described his return in those terms. But there is a huge warning here. Rashford cannot simply return and expect everything to go back to normal. He has to earn it. The fans will be watching. Carrick will be watching. His teammates will be watching. And perhaps most importantly, Rashford himself has to prove that he is ready for this second chance. Because Manchester United are no longer the same team they were when Rashford left. The squad has changed, the manager has changed, the expectations have changed, and Rashford's role has changed too. Reports have also suggested that he has been given a different squad number, with the number 14 shirt becoming part of this new chapter. That might look like a small detail, but symbolically it is interesting. It's almost as if Manchester United are saying, this is not necessarily the same Rashford story. This could be a reset, a fresh beginning, a second chance. And now we have to ask the biggest question of all. Can Marcus Rashford actually take this opportunity? Because there is one upcoming opportunity that could tell us a lot. Manchester United are preparing for their pre-season schedule, and Rashford is expected to have the chance to get back onto the pitch and show Carrick exactly where he stands. That means the next few weeks could be absolutely massive, not just for Manchester United, for Marcus Rashford's entire career. And part 2 is where things get even more interesting. Because bringing Marcus Rashford back is one thing, finding the right role for him is another. Manchester United already have several attacking options. Bruno Fernandes remains the creative leader. Matheus Cunha can operate across the forward line. Amad Dalal provides another option from the right. And United have also invested heavily in their attack. So where exactly does Rashford fit? The obvious answer is the left side. That is where Rashford has produced some of his best football for Manchester United. From there, he can receive the ball, attack defenders, cut inside, or make runs behind the defense. But Carrick may also have another idea. Instead of treating Rashford as a guaranteed starter, he could use him as a player who has to compete for his position, and that might actually be better for everyone. If Rashford knows that he has to perform to keep his place, there is no room for complacency. Every training session matters, every substitute appearance matters, every goal matters, every assist matters, and that competitive environment could bring out the best version of him. There is also the possibility that Rashford becomes an important rotation player. Imagine Manchester United playing 3 matches in 7 days. Carrick could use Rashford in one game, Cunha in another, and rotate depending on the opponent. That gives United something they desperately need: depth. And depth becomes even more important with Champions League football on the horizon. Carrick has already spoken about the need for further improvement, but United's financial situation means the club cannot simply buy every player they want. That makes Rashford's return even more valuable, because if he performs, United may not need to spend another huge amount of money on an additional attacker. And remember, this is a player who already knows the club. He knows the Premier League, he knows the pressure of playing at Old Trafford, he knows what it means to wear the United shirt. That experience cannot simply be bought overnight. But there is another side to this. What happens if Rashford doesn't perform? That's the real test. Because Manchester United cannot afford to keep players based purely on reputation. If Rashford gets opportunities and doesn't take them, then the transfer rumors will immediately return. And this is why the next few weeks are so important. Rashford doesn't necessarily need to score a hat-trick in his first game. What Carrick will probably want to see is something more fundamental: work rate, movement, intensity, body language, pressing, running, and most importantly, consistency. If Rashford shows those things, his situation could dramatically change. Suddenly, the conversation changes from "Why hasn't United sold Rashford?" to "Why would United sell Rashford?" And that is a massive difference. There is also another intriguing possibility. Could Rashford's return affect Manchester United's transfer strategy? Absolutely. If Carrick decides that Rashford can be trusted as one of his attacking options, United may choose to prioritize other positions instead. That could mean more focus on midfield, more focus on the left-back position, more focus on defensive depth, and that would make financial sense. Why spend another $50 million or $60 million on an attacker if you already have a player capable of producing at the highest level? But there is still one major obstacle: Rashford's reputation. Manchester United fans remember the good moments, the goals, the pace, the academy story, the huge performances, but they also remember the frustration, and that means Rashford probably won't receive unlimited patience. He has to rebuild that relationship, and the only way to do that is on the pitch, not through interviews, not through social media, not through transfer rumors. Football. That's where Rashford's future will be decided, and perhaps that is actually a good thing, because now, for the first time in a long time,